My name is Aya Vyas and welcome back to my channel Chess with Arya. Thank you everyone for your support. Today I am back with a new game that was played in 1913 in Paris with Rodinsky versus Alekhine Alexander, in which Alexander shows us very nicely how we can use our opponent's mistakes and the disadvantages that they have made in the opening to our early advantage and make it into a checkmating position. Over here, Alekhine was black. Alekhine is also known as one of the world's best chess players ever made in history. So now let's look at the game. So the first move was played e4, which is a very basic move, trying to get the center squares that are e5 and e4, d4, d5. And after that, black played e5, trying to get the center. White played knight to f3, attacking the pawn on e5, and here black played a move very nicely, d6. d6 is a move only played in really high grandmaster levels. Why? Is because most of the basic chess opening rules are that you should develop your central pieces first. What are your central pieces? When you play, suppose, knight to c6, knight to f6, bishop c4, bishop c5, or even sometimes bishop to g4 or bishop to b4. These are considered as the main central pieces. But once you are at a higher level, you will understand how you can bend these rules to your advantage. But this doesn't mean that in the beginning level you don't follow them. You should always start with following them. Once you get a command on them, you can start improving upon it. Next was bishop to c4. Once again, normal development. Knight to c6, c3, bishop to g4, and basically pinning the knight on f3 with the queen and trying to gain some advantage. Queen to b3 to remove the knight out of the print, and attacking the pawn on f7. A widely used variation over here now in the modern times is after bishop to g4, many times players play bishop takes f7, which is an alternative variation that is used as a trap line to get a pawn. Once king takes f7, knight to g5 is usually played, but this doesn't work in this line is because the pawn on d3 has not moved yet, so the queen can actually just capture the knight. But for example, if the pawn had moved, then this bishop would have been free and you would have gotten an extra pawn on f7. So instead, after bishop to g4, white played the move queen to b3, attacking the pawn on f7, and because once in the opening, f7 and f2 are the weakest pawns for both the sides respectively. Why? Because only the king is protecting it. And once the king castles, the weakest pawns would be h2 and h7 for white and black respectively for kingside castle, and for queenside castle it would be a2 and e7. Once again, because only the king are protecting these pawns. After that, queen to d7, protecting the pawn on f7, giving the king a chance to maybe go do a queenside castle and protect it from all the threats that are coming. And then white played the move knight to g5, creating more pressure on this pawn. After that, knight to h6, protecting the pawn. Right now all the pressure is coming on black, but black let white get the advantage and actually sacrifice the pawn on f7. And after bishop takes f7, knight takes f7, knight takes f7, queen takes f7. And here white could have easily just gotten a free pawn, taken queen takes f7, king takes f7, and now white would be a pawn up. Actually, 2 pawns up. But here white got slightly greedy and decided to capture one more pawn, doing a double attack on the knight and the rook. And now you will see what threats he faced because he did not pay attention to the opponent's plans. After that, king d7 to protect the knight, because in this position the knight is more important than the rook. So queen takes a8, once again white being very greedy about the pieces. Queen to c4, attacking the square on e2, threatening to give a checkmate to the king because the bishop is also protecting it. After that, f3, trying to block the bishop. once again sacrificing. Bishop takes f3, g takes f3, and then bringing the knight to d4. This is just exposing white's position so much, and the king has no more places to move. Now d3, protecting. Here if the knight would have been taken, then queen takes, king moves, and then you would capture this rook, and now the material is equal again, and actually black would be pieces up. So it's better that not capturing the knight would have actually been a better move than now, because now that he didn't take it, there was more threats on the square e2. So after that, d3 to try to stop the queen. Queen takes d3, and then c takes d4, thinking that all the threats were now over. But now what happened is that this bishop e7 came, the queen was attacked, and after queen takes h8, bishop to h4, checkmate. Now what we noticed is that this is how Alexander Alekhine actually made his opponent think that he was dundering the pieces, but in reality he was doing sacrifices so that he could get the advantage. He also noticed that the opponent is a slightly greedy person, so he decided to look at all the pieces that he would not need for his attack, and he decided to give them up, which is also known as a very wise sacrifice. I hope you liked this video and you learned something new. Please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.